Smriti-Purāṇānāmalaya Karunālayam Namāmi Bhagavad-pādam Shankaram Loka-Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra-bhashya Vritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmedi Buddhibheda-vibhagine Vyomavad-vyapta-devaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Sri Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Namasre Shankarananda Gurupadam Bhujanmane Savilasa Mahamoha Rahagrasai Karmane Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Om Namo Narayanaya. The fifth chapter of Panchadashi, we were discussing the four Mahavakyas. Out of four, we have completed first two as Rigvedic Mahavakya Prajñānam Brahma and Yajurvedic Mahavakya Aham Brahmāsmi. Today, we are going to discuss Samavedic Mahavakya Tattvam Asi and Atharva Vedic Mahavakya Ayam Brahma, Ayam Ātmā Brahma. Actually, the four Mahavakyas, the basic meaning of the Mahavakya is the same. Only some part of that takes different aspects of individual consciousness. So as the consciousness is Brahman, Prajñānam Brahma, this is a conscious part of individual, Jivatma, individual Brahman. And Aham Brahmāsmi, I am Brahman. So there the I am. So that is important. That is indicating the individual Brahman as Jiva. Then Tattvam Asi, thou art that, you are that. So there also three words are there. Tat, Tvam and Asi. So Tat, we will see that Tat is Sat only, existence, Atma, and Tvam is again yourself, and Asi, the verbal copula of that sentence, Asi. So these three connected, indicating that this individual consciousness, individual potential consciousness is one with universal potential consciousness. So Sat-Chit-Ananda, so both are one with that Sat-Chit-Ananda. So this we have already discussed. There is a real identification with the individual consciousness and universal consciousness. Though we are not aware about that, because of avidya, because of not knowing the self, we don't know how this individual self is universal self. This is the only one mistake. This is the only one point we are missing. Otherwise, whatever we have as an experience, the awareness, the external awareness, internal awareness, all these are indicating the same truth. So to bring that awareness into this universal form, changing the individuality into universality, this is the aim of these Mahavakyas. Therefore, they are important. Because the in between, the connection, that is, I feel that I am different from others. I am different from this world outside. I am different from everything. So this feeling, this thought, which is making ourselves separate from others. Essentially, fundamentally, all the process of mind and action is the same. Not only in human beings, but also in all other living beings is the same. So there is no reason why we should actually separate ourselves from others. Considering all outer limits and outer differences, this fundamental truth as oneness is the same. So between universality and the I amness, so this is the connection here we are talking about. Now, again with the Tattvam Asi Mahavakya, you will see with the sloka, fifth sloka. Ekameva dvitiyam sat nama rupa vivarjitam. Srishte puradhunapyasya tadriktvam tadidiryate. Ekameva advitiyam sad nama rupa vivarjitam srishte pura. So before creation, an immanent principle was there as existence. That is called Sat. This is the ultimate cause of the creation. This is the principal cause of the creation. That is called Sat. Without existence, nothing can be formed. Even science says this. So you need some kind of existence. One has to accept that. So this immanent principle as existence, you can give any name there. It can be called Brahman, it can be called God, it can be called God principle, or you can call it any other name. Doesn't matter. So that Sat is in that before creation. So what is the difference between after creation and before creation? If you ask, the difference is said in Chandogya Upanishad is Nama Rupa Vivarjitam. So this is only meaning we take from before creation and after creation. Before creation means that principle had no name and form. The Nama Rupa Vivarjitam. Later it got name and form. That is what we call it as creation. So that immanent principle, whatever it may be, it had no Nama, Rupa. So it was only existence alone, Ekameva, without a second, Advidiyam. So Ekam Eva Advidiyam Sata Nama Rupa Vivarjitam. So with this much you can imagine, which has no name and form, because when we say that principal cause has no name, it is called as existence. The existence is not a name there. Consciousness is not a name. And bliss is also not a name. So be careful with these words. These are the actual situation. So when we say the fire is heat or fire has heat, the fire may be a name, but heat is not a name. Heat is the actuality, the reality of that fire, fire principle. So similarly, Brahman can be said as a name, but actually Brahman is Sat-Chit-Ananda. Therefore, we don't call it as Sat-Chit-Ananda is a name. Of course, we know there is no form as such. There is no form. There is no name. There is no form. It is before creation. So creation brings names and forms. So in that level, Ekam Eva Advidiyam. So it is clear that if there is no name, then only the principal cause or whatever that will be alone. The reality will be alone without attributions. So that is what we are experiencing in Sushupti. Because one has to connect all this with one's own experience. So this experience of Sushupti shows that when there is no name and form, you are alone without attribution, without any change. So Ekam Eva Advidiyam. So that principle is now a universal existence as Sat. It's a cosmic existence, immanent principle of the creation. So that principle is not different from you. So Adhuna, Adhuna means now, api asya tatrik tadiryate. So if that is the case before creation, then why not now? So now also, even today also, even now, adhuna api, tadritvam tadir iti. So after the creation also, the existence is existence, consciousness is consciousness, bliss is bliss, and the principle, whatever it is, the principal cause is principal cause only. Only the difference is you have attributed some name, and whenever it changes the form, you also call it in different forms, different names. So like Akasha, Vayu, and all those 5 elements and things like that. Still the principal cause not changing its form. The existence is existence only. If it is called as Akasha or Vayu or whatever, it doesn't matter. It cannot change. So therefore, here Vidyaranya Mahaswamiji is ascertaining that before creation, whatever was there, the same principle is continuing now. So one has to see that, how it is continuing. So for that, to see that like that, the Shastra is helping us with this Mahavakya. Shastra says, why you separate yourself from that? How can you think like that? How can you separate yourself from that? Why you are not able to see that the same principle is continuing in you? It is existing in you. It cannot change its form. So how can you change yourself? How can you say that is not here? The God is there somewhere and God created this world. Now God is resting and we are suffering. No? The people think like that. After creation, God God wants to rest. So God created this, and now He is resting, and God sent you for suffering. Now you are suffering here. So God is resting. After that, He will wake up and again destroy everything and take you back. So these are the stories. Now, if you think like this, now how can you connect yourself from God? How can you disconnect yourself from God? You think like this. Now God created. Okay, what is the connection with that? He created and He is not more. He is not connecting you there. So it cannot be. So therefore, before creation, whatever was there before creation, still that is continuing with some difference as names and forms. That's all. You created a pot from processed clay. The clay was there, you processed it and created a pot. So when pot is created, it got the new name as pot, but still the clay, processed clay is continuing. The processed clay named as pot, nothing else. So now how can you separate the clay and pot here? It's not possible. Similarly, tadriktvam tad iti iryate. Therefore, it is clear that you are that. You cannot change it. Srodurdehendriyatitam vastvatratvam paderitam. Srodurdehendriyatitam vastvatratvam paderitam. Ekada grahyate siti tadaikyamaनुभूयताम्. Srodurdehendriyatitam. So now is continuing the process how we can understand this. Now you are the Srota. Srota means Tattvam Asi. So Tattvam Asi, the word Tattvam Asi, say Upadesha Vakya. Guru's teaching that Guru teaches you are that. So this is his Vakya. Now the Shishya, the disciple, listened to him. So he is called as Srota, listener. The Srotuhu, now he says, you are that Brahman. Now the Shishya thinks how it is possible. I have this body, mind, all these complicated things. Now, how I can be a Brahman? How I can think that I am Brahman? I am that Sat. I am that existence. So he says it is not possible with the bodily identifications. You have to purify yourself. We call it Tvam-pada-shodhanam. One has to purify, disconnect the additional attributions, whatever is additionally connected Chit-Ananda. So you are with Sat-Chit-Ananda plus Nama Rupa plus something something. So minus all those, minus Nama Rupa, minus whatever you added into that. So when you minus it, the Satchidananda will remain. So this process is called Tvam-pada-shodhanam. So Tat-pada-shodhanam and Tvam-pada-shodhanam. So there, Deha Indriya Atidam Vastu Atra. So that principle which is beyond body, mind, and all this, and which is that principle which is there behind the sense of I, behind the sense of I amness. So Srotuhu, I say I am a listener, I am listening. So this I amness is an appearance of the principal identification or principal, what you say, the basic consciousness. So consciousness is there. With that, I say I am a listener now. So the listening process take me with that. So I am thinking of that listening, identifying with that. My consciousness is one with that uh, listening process. So for a time being, I am become a listener. Now, who made you listener? Is existence made you listener? Consciousness made you listener? Who made you listener? It's just the process of listening, the action of listening. So the action of listening made you listener. So your action is different from you. Even though the action is different from you, you identify yourself with that. What therefore what we can say is your consciousness is reflected in that action, and you have given consciousness to the action, and that action and consciousness become one. So your consciousness become listener. So this is how last class also I said, this is how we identify ourselves. We go all the way to the object and become one with the object. So in that particular moment, you are one with that. So you feel yourself limited. You have no awareness of yourself. You are one with that action. Similarly, with all other objective actions. So therefore, Shrota here, the Shrota, the listener, is not the actual listener. The listening is also an attribution. Its attribution came from the action of listening, right? So the action of listening, just action of listening made you as listener. Is it possible? Is it right? Can you accept that just listening made you as listener? Hmm? No. So when somebody is listening, it's just a process. It's for a little time being. You cannot think that I become a listener, so my consciousness is also listening to it. You are unable to separate your consciousness, your awareness from that listening process. So you think you are listened. If you could separate the actual consciousness which is there behind the sense of listening, which is there behind as a background of the sense of listening, then you got the point. Then you become one with the Sat, the actionless one, the actionless experience. This is very simple. This is like a process of meditation, or you can just understand this. It is technical, but logically perfect. So everywhere this is what is happening. So this is called as Tvam-pada-shodhanam. To separate yourself from all other action. I took the example of listening because here srotuhu, this word is used. So I took that example. You can take any other instance in your life and connect with that. When you are angry, think about that anger. Can I say I am having this no anger now, so I uh, can I call me as no, I am doing that. Okay, I can identify that. So what is happening? What is all happening there? So that if you are angry, it means in that particular moment you have identified yourself with that actions of what something is happening. So still behind you, this consciousness is the same without action. So the anger is not in you, it is in mind or in intellect or ego. Directly we can say it is in ego, because mostly we think like that. Similarly, take each action and contemplate on that. So you can see the identification of consciousness. You are connecting your consciousness with those. I don't say you are losing your consciousness. There is no losing process in consciousness. But you are connecting your own mind with other objects or other emotions. So whenever it comes, whenever any emotion pops up in your mind, so you are identifying this with that for a moment. So that moments you become that action. That's the problem. That's the only problem we are having. No other. To avoid this, one has to practice to be aware about the consciousness behind that action. That's all. That's all you have to do. So, Srotra Dehendriyatitam Vastu Atra Tvam-pada-shodhanam. Then you have realized your own self. Then you have the awareness of your own self. That's all. Now you are identified with day-to-day actions, one after another, in continuous process. It is a chain of actions. There is no gap where you can think of yourself, where you can be aware about the consciousness working behind the actions. That's the problem. So simply withdraw from those actions and be aware about the withdrawing means being aware about that. That is called withdrawal. So then, ekada grahyate asiti tadaikyam anubhuyata. Then Tattvam Asi with the Tat-pada and Tvam-pada. Tat-pada is what is there before Srishti. That is the meaning of Tat-pada. Sat, Sadatma, Sadeva Somedamagrasi Dekameva Titiyam. This is the word comes there. This we have studied in the second chapter of Panchadashi. We have already studied it. Sadeva Saumya Idamagrasi Dekameva Titiyam. So that Sat, that Sat is Tat. That is called Tat here. So that Tat, and now this Tvam, the Tvam which is the consciousness behind all actions, that is Tvam. Okay. So ekada grahyate asi iti tadaikyam anubhuyata. So in that we experience the oneness of ekata, the oneness of Tad and Tvam. So that principle, cause as Sata, and this consciousness as Tvam, both are the same. Both are one. So ekada grahyate, from which asi iti, the word asi, this is a word, verbal form. As I said, no, verbal capola, we call it in grammar. It has no separate meaning. It is not giving any separate meaning. It is only a verbal capola of the Tad and Tvam. But it is very important. What it does, it does ekata grahyate. It makes consciousness and that existence one. So ekata grahyate asiti tadaikyam anubhuyatam. So this is this identity has to be experienced. This oneness has to be experienced. Tad aikyam anubhuyata. So then you understood Tattvam Asi. So I will summarize again. So we have three words in Tattvam Asi. The Tat means existence, consciousness, bliss, which we call it Sat-Chit-Ananda. But in this context, especially in Chandogya Upanishad, we take it as Sat. It means the immanent principle of existence as existence. That is Sat, existence. Now, Tvam is there. Tvam, as we call it, I am. So somebody say you means I. So I receive it as I. The person say you are. So I receive it as I am. So it's both are the same only. So when somebody say you are, how we receive it as I am? Because you are, the word means consciousness. Means you are existing. So I indicate your existence. So I accept that I am, or yes, I am existing. Now what? So then he will say his whatever he wants to communicate with you, he will continue with that communication. So first this you are, I am, this proofing process of existence comes. Now you see how beautiful it is. If you see day-to-day conversation also, you can experience the same existence of consciousness there. If you know grammar very well, because in our tradition, in Sanatana Dharma, we have many methods of experiencing this. Normally, Grammar is not a sadhana, because learning grammar, nobody thinks in the world as a sadhana, as a spiritual practice, as a religious practice. No, learning English grammar is not a spiritual practice anywhere in the world. But in Sanskrit in India, we have a method. By learning Sanskrit grammar, also you can realize self. This is also a religious practice. It's also a religious, no, spiritual sadhana. So only by learning Sanskrit grammar also you can experience this, whatever we call it as Vedantic experience, existence, consciousness, bliss, absolute. So this is how we learn it. So therefore, because we go to the core of that, from where the word comes, the source of the Shabda, we call it as Shabda Brahma. So the word, the sound, from where it produces, the source of the sound, that is consciousness only, that is existence. So that way we go like this. So we have many books on that. Lego Manchusha, like that. There are some books which they discuss about this. And Vakyapadiyamo Bhartrihari. There is one higher grammar book of Sanskrit. It's called Vakyapadiyam of Bhartrihari. So in all those tests, and Mahabhashya of Patanjali, the first chapter, Mahabhashya of Patanjali Maharshi. Mahabhashya means the uh, uh, commentary on Vyakarana Sutras, Panini's Vyakarana Sutras. So there all this is discussed. Now the Akshara is Brahman. We call it, all syllable, we call it as Akshara. The Akshara means that is Brahman only, Atma only. So then from there it comes. So therefore, somebody is scolding you or somebody is annoyed with you, they again and again they say, you are wrong, you are wrong. So when they say you are wrong, you take it as I am. So you take it as I am, so that I amness will come to you as Sat-Chit-Ananda. Now you see, if somebody is scolding you, that will not happen. You will be not annoyed with that, because he is also giving you upadesha. He is also giving you some upadesha. Al Tattvam Asi. Tattvam Asi also says the same, no? So now he is not scolding you, because you are the principle. You are the ultimate truth. So you are that. So he may add some other things there. He doesn't mind, because that all whatever he or she is going to add in that you are, with you are, that will be bodily connected or sensory connection, or some other intellectual or mental or anything like that. It is not, nobody will scold you with Atma, with the existence, consciousness and bliss. So you don't have to worry, because if nobody is calling you with the Atma, so why you should worry? So therefore, even in that you can find Atma Jnana if you practice this. It is not a joke. Actually, it is very serious thing if you can practice this. So there is something behind that listening process. There is something behind when you think, the thinking process. So each action, this existence consciousness is behind you. So try to touch that, try to catch that. So with these two slokas, we completed the Tattvam Asi. Now the last Mahavakya, Ayam Ātmā Brahma. So this fourth Mahavakya, Ayam Ātmā Brahma, is from Mandukya Upanishad of Atharva Veda. This is Atharva Vedic Mahavakya. Ayam Ātmā Brahma means this self is Brahman. This self is Brahman. So if you know the self, what is this? Then it is Brahman. This self means the consciousness only. So this individual consciousness, the potential individual consciousness is nothing but Brahman. It's identical with the universal consciousness. This is the same thing there is talking about. Swaprakasha parokshatva mayamityuktyudo matam. Swaprakasha parokshatvam ayamityuktyudo matam. Ahankaradi dehantad pratyagatmedi giyate. Ahankaradi dehantat pratyagatmedi giyate. So it is said that Swaprakasha aparokshatvam ayam. So now in the fourth Mahavakya also we have Ayam Ātmā Brahma. So three words are there. Ayam Ātmā Brahma. So Ayam means this. It is a pronoun. So this self, Atma means this self, is Brahman. This self is Brahman. That's all. So there the Ayam means this self. Why we say this self? Because Swaprakasha aparokshat. So from this self, the word this self Ayam, there is an indication that this is Swaprakasha. This is self-illumined or self-known. It is known by itself. I know myself. I know myself, that is correct. Nobody else can know me. I only know myself. So this is the idea. This is the first thing we experience. So Swaprakasha. So it doesn't need any other's proof. It doesn't need any other's help to know yourself. You never ask, can you say, am I alive or not? You never ask anybody. And if you go and ask, can you help me out? How? Am I alive or not? Let me know. Nobody will ask this because you know you are alive. So this is called Swaprakasha. And you know what you know. Last class also I said, you understand what you understood. So now you know what you know because you are one with that. So it cannot be separate. Your knowledge and yourself, it is unseparable. It is impossible to separate. You are and your knowledge. So both are same. Therefore, it is called Swaprakasha. And Aparoksha. It is the inner. It is immediately. We can say internal and direct. It's called Aparoksha. It doesn't need any means. So it is immediate. There is no medium. There is no need of any medium to know myself. I know myself without medium. So therefore it is Aparoksha. You know Aparoksha. Aparoksha means direct knowledge. Paroksha means indirect. You need some medium to know something. Then it's called Paroksha. So it is, first of all, that is Swaprakasha. Then it is immediate knowledge. So these two things are indicating our own existence, this consciousness. So I am Uktitaha Matam. Now, ahankaradi dehantat pratyakatmedi giyate. And this self is the innermost pratyakatma, the innermost self, the deepest I consciousness. So we have many I consciousness, the deha, mind, prana and all those. The deepest I consciousness is called pratyakatma. So that deepest I consciousness, that most internal to all these ahankara, ego, mind, intellect. So it is internal to all this. So we take the most internal part of our own experience. If you go one by one, body, prana, mind, ego, intellect, whatever, go one by one, and where it ends, from where you cannot go further more, further internal, that is yourself. So the most internal part of your experience. So aham ahankaradi dehantat. So it is indwelling. It is working with ahankara and all other principles, covering everything between ego and body. It is connected to everything, ego and body and all others. So that is what we call it as pratyakatma. That pratyakatma is mentioned here as Ayam. So this pratyakatma, the innermost, the deepest consciousness. So that comes now. This pratyakatma, which is experienced as the innermost self, is also not different from the universal one. So we are taking the substratum of this body and mind, physical and mental level of everything. So which is supporting all action of ahankara and mind and all those. So we are taking that substratum is yourself. We call it as adhishtanam. So to say that here the word pratyakatma is used. Pratyak means innermost. Atma means self. So the innermost self is called pratyakatma. How it is innermost? When you take body, mind and all by step. So you go deeper and deeper. All panchakoshas, we know already. So annamayadi panchakosha. So take the last, the deepest level of that experience. So then that is the self-experience. Drishyamanasya sarvasya jagadastattvamiryate Brahma shabdena tad Brahma swaprakashatma rupakam. So drishyamanasya sarvasya jagataha tattvamiryate. So you take the visible, the substratum of, or the principle, the basic principle of this visible world, visible, the entire creation. The entire creation, drishyamanasya sarvasya jagataha tattvamidyate. It is said to be the substratum, the principal cause of this visible, entire visible world creation. So that is called drishyamanasya. So what we call it, athado brahma jijnasa. So the principal cause of this creation is Brahman. That is, we have already studied in the first chapter itself. So, Drishyamanasya sarvasya jagadat tattvamiriyate Brahma shabdena tad Brahma. Now, that is called as Brahman. Brahman means all pervading. It is pervading reality of this illumined world, this existing world. That is the pervading principle, pervading reality of this visible world, what we call it as Brahman. So that Brahman is not different from me as Pratyekatma. So this Pratyekatma and that Brahman is the same. So Brahma Shabdena, only the word changes. I am not different from the universe and the universe is not different from me. If I see myself from my own core existence, if I am that Brahman, then this world is also Brahman, because there cannot be two Brahmans. Brahman means all pervading. So all pervading, there cannot be two all pervadings. Therefore, only one can exist. As I told you about Purnamataha, so that is also Purna, that is also full and complete, and this is also complete. There is no vacuum. There is no emptiness. There is no empty space. So Brahma Shabdena Tad Brahma Swaprakashaka Rupakam. Therefore, I am that Brahma. So with this, we conclude the fifth chapter, which is the smallest chapter of this Panchadashi, only with 8 slokas. So in 8 slokas, here Sri Vidyaranya Mahaswamiji summarized 4 Mahavakyas. If you want to study only 4 Mahavakyas, you want to study only the essence of Vedanta, you can study this 5th chapter of Panchadashi. So how beautifully he brought the 4 Mahavakya in 8 slokas. So each Mahavakya with 2 slokas. So now you see the Mahavakya of principal Upanishads or 4 Vedas. We call it Vedic Mahavakyas. Okay. So Mahavakyas are again the essence of 4 Vedas. Veda and Upanishads. That what what Vedas say, Vedas say these 4 Mahavakyas. And the 4 Mahavakya means one meaning. The meaning of 4 Mahavakya is one. What is that? You are Brahman. You are Brahman. You are that all-pervading Brahman. Your consciousness is universal consciousness. You cannot separate yourself from that universal consciousness. So, in that way, we call all Vedas are giving that moksha. No, they are giving the upadesha of that moksha, the oneness, the experience of oneness. So that is what we discussed here. With this, we conclude the 5th chapter. Now, you will enter into a different realm of teaching in next chapter, 6th chapter. This is one of longest chapter. It has more than 200 No, 240 or some slokas. Not 40, even more. Uh, 290 slokas. And then again, the seventh chapter, it has even more. So the next chapter is Chitradeepa Prakaranam. Now we have concluded Viveka Prakaranas, 5 Viveka Prakaranas. Now we'll start with Chitradeepa Prakaranam, the lamp of the picture or the consciousness.
You are muted, Anjali.
No, I was just trying to see what's happened. I think there's a poor connection.
Hari Om. Hari Om.
Hari Om, Swami.
Hari Om. Can you listen?
Yes, Swamiji.
Svamiji.
Okay. Okay, sir. In between something happened. Okay. So, okay, we will take up the next chapter in next class. So again, there will be a detailed discussion of the process, the theories of creation and things like that, connected with some Upanishad Vakyas. So that is Chitradipa Prakaranam. Again, the Jiva Srishti, Ishvara Srishti, everything will come up in this chapter. Okay, so if you want to ask anything, you can ask.
Please raise your hand if you have a question.
Okay, so we can conclude today's session.
Yes, Swamiji.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Om Namo Narayanaya Harihi Om. Thank you, Hari.